How my girlfriend's bet made me her fashion twin. I've always considered myself a simple guy. 25 years old, an office job that I didn't mind too much, a small group of friends I could count on one hand, and a steady girlfriend named Kate who, for some reason, had chosen me. I'd never been a guy who went out of my way to stand out. I wore jeans and t-shirts, stuck to simple sneakers, and spent most of my free time doing the same things I'd done since high school: video games, sports, hanging out with the guys. Kate, on the other hand, was everything I wasn't. She was effortlessly chic, a woman who could make anything look good. I admired how she moved through the world, confident and unbothered. She had a knack for making everything look easy, from her flawless makeup to the elegant way she carried herself. I'd always been fascinated by her fashion sense. It was the kind of confidence I could never muster, the kind of effortless style I could only dream of. But one night, sitting across from her at dinner, she did something that threw me off balance. It wasn't a grand gesture or some life-changing proclamation. No, it was just a simple bet. "You know," she said, grinning like she had a secret, "I bet you can't handle a whole week dressing like me." I stared at her, a little stunned, unsure of how to respond. What did she mean? Dress like her? Was she joking? She had always been playful, but this was different. "Seriously," Kate pressed on, "a whole week. I'll even help you pick out the outfits. I bet you won't make it more than a day." My heart started to race, and my mind immediately began to spin. Dress like Kate? It sounded ridiculous, impossible even. But as her eyes locked onto mine, there was a twinkle of mischief that made me second-guess myself. Was she daring me? Was this a challenge I couldn't back down from? What was at stake wasn't just my pride. It was how I saw myself. The next morning, I woke up to the memory of Kate's challenge hanging over me like a cloud. It seemed ridiculous to even think about it. A whole week of dressing like her? No way. I'd never worn anything that even remotely resembled what Kate wore on a daily basis. The idea of wearing skirts, dresses, and heels made my skin crawl. I wasn't some fashion-forward guy. I was the guy who couldn't even match his socks. But the more I thought about it, the more the idea lingered in my mind. Kate was confident, bold, and never afraid to take risks. She loved fashion, loved experimenting with looks, and I admired that about her. But me? I wasn't sure if I could pull it off. It wasn't just the clothes. It was the fear of looking like a fool in front of everyone. My friends, my colleagues, what would they think if they saw me dressed like Kate? Would I still be the same guy they knew? Would they see me differently? But Kate's challenge wasn't just about fashion, it was a test. I could feel it in the way she'd looked at me when she made the bet. It was as if she knew something about me that I didn't even know about myself. Maybe it wasn't just a game. Maybe it was her way of saying, "I think you can handle more than you think." Still, I struggled. I thought of all the ways it could go wrong. What if I couldn't make it through a whole week? What if I lost my confidence? Felt trapped in something I didn't understand. But something about the idea of stepping outside my comfort zone, of pushing myself into a new world, also intrigued me. Kate texted me that evening. "Ready for tomorrow? It's going to be fun. I promise." I stared at the text for a long moment, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. What if I just did it? What if I took the plunge and gave it a shot? The uncertainty gnawed at me, but the seed had been planted. Maybe, just maybe, this was the challenge I needed. The days leading up to the start of the bet felt like a blur. I caught myself glancing at Kate's wardrobe more times than I could count. Her clothes weren't just clothes. They were statements. She had dresses that were vibrant and bold, skirts that hugged her frame just right, and tops that seemed to fit her so perfectly I could never imagine pulling them off. How was I supposed to look confident in something that felt so out of place? I started second-guessing everything. Was I really ready to go through with this? What if I looked ridiculous? I even considered texting Kate and backing out, telling her it was just too much. But then, I would see her smile in my mind, and the thought of disappointing her stopped me. Kate didn't dare me to do something because she thought I would fail. She did it because she knew I could do more than I realized. Still, it wasn't easy. One evening, I was at my buddy Dan's house when I finally told him about the bet. His reaction was just as I expected. He burst out laughing. Wait, Dan said, wiping tears from his eyes. "You dressing like Kate? Man, I can't wait to see this." "I don't know if I can do it," I admitted, sitting down beside him. "I mean, it's just a bet, but it's more than that. What if I do it wrong? What if people notice? Dan raised an eyebrow. Dude, come on. You can't back out now. If you're gonna do this, own it. Besides, what's the worst that happens? A few laughs. I shook my head. It's not just that. I don't know if I can handle the way people will look at me. Dan paused, looking thoughtful. Listen, man, you're not gonna know unless you try. And honestly, if you pull it off, you'll probably feel like a rock star. That idea stayed with me. I wasn't just dressing up for a laugh. I was challenging myself to face something I'd always avoided. Maybe I could pull it off. Maybe this was my chance to change the way I saw myself. The day before the bet started, Kate texted me again, ready. I stared at the message, feeling the pressure building inside of me. Yeah, I typed back. Let's do this. The next morning, I stood in front of the mirror with my heart in my throat. The dress Kate had picked for me sat on the bed, a soft pink number that looked more feminine than anything I'd ever owned. I couldn't even imagine what I was about to do. I had never worn a skirt, much less a dress, and certainly not heels. Kate walked into the room, her usual confidence radiating. Are you ready? She asked, her voice filled with excitement. I wanted to say no. I wanted to back out, to tell her it was too much. But something inside me shifted. I realized I had already made the decision. I wasn't going to back down. I was going to do this for me, even if it meant feeling completely out of my element. I wasn't just going to prove anything to Kate. I was going to prove something to myself. I nodded, my voice tight. Yeah, let's do it. Kate took charge from there. She helped me slip into the dress, guiding my arms through the soft fabric, adjusting the fit to ensure it hugged my body just right. She showed me how to do my makeup, foundation, eyeliner, mascara, the works. I had no idea what I was doing, but with Kate's help, I slowly started to see a different version of myself in the mirror. Not bad for a first-timer, she said, giving me a playful wink. I looked at myself in the mirror, hardly recognizing the person staring back. The dress felt snug in all the right places. The heels, though, were another story. I stumbled a little as I tried to take my first step, but Kate was quick to grab my arm, steadying me. It'll get easier, she assured me, helping me find my balance. Just remember, confidence. The more I looked at myself, the more strange it felt. This wasn't just about the clothes. It was about the way I was carrying myself. I had to force myself to stand up straighter, to project some kind of confidence, but it didn't come naturally. Kate handed me a purse, and I looked at her skeptically. Do I need that too? Yes, she said, it's all about the details. I stared at the purse in my hand, wondering how I was supposed to act now. Would people see me as someone else? Would they notice the transformation? I felt exposed, vulnerable. But I had already committed to this. I was in it now, for better or worse. We headed out for lunch, and my nerves only grew. With every step, I could feel the eyes of strangers on me. We passed people on the street who turned their heads, their glances lingering a little too long. I couldn't tell if they were admiring my outfit or silently judging me. We walked into a cafe, and Kate took my hand in hers, squeezing it reassuringly. We stood in line to order, and I felt every inch of my body tense. The barista behind the counter looked at us both and smiled. You two look so cute together, she said, handing us our drinks. Twins, huh? I smiled awkwardly, but the comment made me feel like I could breathe for the first time since leaving the house. As we sat down at our table, I realized that I wasn't the only one looking at myself. People were seeing me in a new light, and I wasn't just a guy in a dress anymore. I was someone who was exploring a new version of himself. This wasn't just a game anymore, it was a revelation. Kate leaned over and whispered, I knew you could do it. I smiled back at her, finally starting to believe it. Maybe I could pull this off. Maybe, just maybe, this wasn't so impossible after all. The week passed in a blur of experimentation and exploration. There were moments when I felt completely out of place, but there were also moments when I felt like I was truly being myself. By the end of the challenge, I wasn't the same person I had been at the beginning. The bet had pushed me out of my comfort zone, yes, but it had also opened up a new world for me. I discovered a part of myself I hadn't even known was there, a side of me that felt more confident and free. Kate was right. It wasn't about winning or losing the bet. It was about the journey, about discovering who I could be when I stepped outside of what I thought I knew. When I looked in the mirror now, I didn't just see the guy who was trying to be someone else. I saw someone who was finally starting to understand what it meant to be himself, no matter what he wore.